Hi, my name is Milos Popovic. I'm the director of KITE, and the purpose of this video is to tell you a little bit about the culture of the institution that you joined or you already belong. Culture is one of the most important things in every organization. Sadly, most organizations don't discuss it, they talk about it, they don't present it and share it with their employees. But that's what defines what the institution is. And I want to spend some time today to tell you about the culture, some of the rules that we have and why these rules exist and what they actually mean. So when you see them on the walls of the KITE laboratories, you don't get surprised or you don't get confused why they're there and what is actually the meaning of those rules. So first of all, I want to talk about the impact and the expectations that we have from you as our students or employees. We are very careful in choosing who we bring to KITE, from staff, from scientists, from students. So we usually try to get the smartest and brightest people to join the enterprise. And one of the reasons why we do that is because by having talented and competent people, they help each other grow and they help institution become more productive, more competent, and to achieve its main objectives. And what we do as a team is fundamentally creating solutions, technologies, knowledge, processes that are highly relevant for helping people improve their lives, for enabling people to prevent injuries, to help people restore function and fundamentally get return back to their normal lives or as close as possible to where they have been before they had an injury event. So as you're an employee of KITE, and this is our mission, this is a very unique opportunity where you can have actual impact on the patients, on their families, on the caregivers. And particularly for students, but also for other employees. That's why you're here. We hired you to help us achieve this goal. And you will be the ones who will actually create the most significant contributions and enable this type of things to be created, developed, tested, validated, and eventually, in a couple of years from now, or maybe a decade, have an impact on the patients and their families and caregivers. So we have a great expectations from you. That's why we're here. And if you're a student, please do your best to ask your mentor to give you a project that is related to those type of topics, to assisting patients, their families, caregivers, instead of doing some esoteric research. We don't forbid esoteric research, or we're not against it, but we're in a hospital, and this is kind of the expectations that we have. We would like really to make the difference in that space. So try to get your research questions or projects aligned with that kind of vision. The other thing which is very important is the quality of research or quality of the things that we do. The expectation is that the products, the papers, the posters, the publications, the videos, whatever we produce has to be of highest quality. I'm sorry that this video is not of the highest quality because I'm recording in the basement of my home because of the COVID and given situations, but you understand what I'm trying to tell you. So we are a premium rehab research institution in the world. We're very proud of that, but there's no arrogance about it. It's not that we are better than somebody else. No, we create an environment in which we do not have experts. We have a people who work very hard to solve real problems, and we are very proud of being able to solve these problems and having a reputation for being competent, capable, and leading edge worldwide. The attitude is also very important. If you're doing things that are new and different and exciting, and you're breaking the new ground and discovering something, it is very natural and expected that you'll have problems, that you will have failures, that you will not reach all your goals with ease. So failing is an important part of research. If you don't fail, it means you're not discovering anything new. You're failing when you're trying to discover new technology, new idea, new process, and you're missing the target. And sometimes the target is not even obvious. So get used to being in a situation when you fail. We create an environment in which you can fail safely. So failing is fine as long as you ultimately get to the end point, get to the result, do it in a very high quality, and everything that you do has been done in a thoughtful, carefully planned way. And should you not reach your goal, you should also report that. Like, we tried it, we're very thoughtful how we wanted to do this project, we designed it properly, we ran it, and the results we got were not what we expected. That's a valuable information. This is something that should be published, should be shared with the community, so that the community doesn't go follow the same path. This is where the integrity comes. If you do process of research properly, and your methodology is tight, and you do the experiments correctly, and you have a negative results, that's fine. What is important is that the process is done properly. So if you're not 100% certain about your process, or about your work, or about your data, don't publish that. But if you're certain that everything you have done has been done with care, with passion, and patience to detail, and focus to detail, and you know that everything is tight, then you should publish negative results, and you should publish whatever results you have. Do not ever publish incorrect data. Don't ever engineer data. Do not try to rush things. And that's very important. And if you see that, if you're doing it, stop doing it. If you see other people do something like that, tell them that they should not do that. And if they're not paying attention, they're not listening to you, you can go to your mentor, or ultimately you can come to me, and I'm very happy to have this discussion and go and correct that. And also, if you don't like something about the lab, or the way how you're coached, managed, mentored, or the environment, or anything, or things that I cannot even imagine right now, there's a natural process. You come, talk to your mentor, come talk to me. I'm always available. I'm in room 12-157 at University Center. Any complaint, any suggestion, any advice that you may have, the way how we can do our research better, how we can improve our culture, how we can treat each other better, is totally welcomed, and I would be very happy if you do that. It's kind of, you show the trust, and we will very much respect that trust and do what is right for you and for the institution. Interpersonal relationships, I don't have to talk about that much. Treat everybody with dignity, with care, your patients, co-workers. Be tolerant, especially in this time of COVID, when things are really being funny and people get, depressed, or they get anxious, or they get really challenged with the situation environment. Practice tolerance, practice respect, and approach your co-workers and your patients with love and care. That's very important. And help your colleagues and your mentors and patients in any way you can. That's the culture of the place we're in. So, speaking of the culture, you may go and walk on 12th floor, I think 11th floor. There are a couple of places where we have put framed values and culture of KITE in display, so that you can always kind of look at it and maybe remind yourself. And also, we put it in public space because that's our commitment. We want to do that. We're going to do it. And we may not always be successful, but this is what we're striving to, and we expect you as well to strive towards that. And we call the first batch of this What Really Matters. The first item on that list says who we are, And that's kind of a question. And the answer is we're all scientists. And what does that really mean? It means that anybody, from a custodian to research assistant to, your mentor, your students, undergraduate students, postdoctoral fellows, PhD students, master students, everybody, technicians, everybody in our system is fundamentally scientists. Why am I telling you that? Because some of the most important discoveries that I have made have been were kind of suggested and advised by people who do not have PhD degrees, who are not professors. But in one case, it was a technician who was putting the light fixture on the ceiling. In another case, it was an engineer who knew nothing about physiology. And in third case, it was actually custodian who came in and said, I don't think you should do this thing that way, you should do it that way. And it actually changed our protocols for research and that project and made project tremendously better because that custodian came in, paid attention, and gave us some advice. So everybody in KITE is a scientist and is contributing to this effort. Okay? And remember that. If your work is not impacting patients and their families or their caregivers, it is not that it is not important work, but we're in a hospital. Our goal is to try to help patients. So from the point of view of the hospital and KITE enterprise, it is not as relevant as things that have immediate impact. And you will see when you join the enterprise, there's so many people who have disabilities or are aging, and being able to help this population is of great importance. The third item is if your device or process or algorithm or the therapy or the questionnaire is not working, or it's not working each and every time you turn on the switch or you turn on the software, it is not ready for prime time. Don't put it in the journal papers. Don't show it to other people. Go make it clean. Go make sure that it works each and every time you use it or you turn it on. Then go and present it, not before you're at that point in time. If you see somebody fudging the data or engineering the data, as we spoke earlier, stop them, period. And if you need my help, I'll be there to help you in that process. If you see somebody in distress, your friend, student, the person who is your mentor or the person who you are mentoring, please stop and see what you can do to help them and assist them. And if you cannot assist them, which sometimes there are situations in which you are not in a position or you're not empowered or you don't feel comfortable doing it, please come to us or somebody else and seek help to assist the person who is in distress. Every member of the KITE is extremely valuable, including you. And any time that you feel uncomfortable or in distress, or somebody is in uncomfortable distress, we are here to help and assist you and that individual. If somebody needs help with a project or a task, an equation, or handling a patient, please do assist them. Don't sit on the side and watch them. Go and assist them, help them. This is very important, and they will help you. This is how you create community of support and appreciation. Help each other. Okay. If somebody from media calls and offers to conduct an interview with you, that's a wonderful thing, but just don't do it without consulting. So please come to our KITE UHM public relations people first, which is Jared and Teller. Talk to them and tell them what happened. They will contact that news agency and they will find out if this is real, if this is genuine, and if they're not trying to use you for some purposes that you really don't want to be a part of. So make sure that if anybody contacts you, you always go to our public relations people first. And you can find them on our webpage if you do not know who they are. And there's a phone number, an email address, and all this stuff. If you see something really exciting or funny or cute at KITE and you feel an urge to go and tweet it, put it on Facebook, Instagram, or whatnot. Don't do it. And the reason why you should never do that, because you do not know who is in the background. You may incidentally take a picture of the patient, or you may take a picture of the scientist or an employee of UHN, and they don't want to be taken picture of, or you can take a picture of something that we should not show in public environment. So people who are tweeting and posting things about KITE and UHN are people who are paid to do that, and they have to care about this. You please don't use a Facebook and tweet things with the content at KITE, especially if you didn't consult with our public relations people. And the last point is kind of sounds funny. It goes like slow is inefficient, efficient is fast, slow is fast. What it really means is the following. Don't rush to do things. Think about them. Plan them properly. Think and have a proper thought process. And as you have this proper thought process and you know what you need to do, that becomes very efficient. At the beginning, it may look it's slow and it's slowing you down because you're not doing the thing, you're not putting this experimental setup as you plan. But actually, once you plan it properly and execute it, you will find out that this is way faster than you start putting things together and then you realize it's not working, then you dismantle it, do it again, and do it 6 or 7 times, and that eats way more time than if you sat down, thought about it, plan it, and execute it properly. We also have many funny rules. They're not so funny, they're very helpful. And if you stick to them, it'll be better for you, it'll be better for KITE, it'll be better for everybody. So the first rule is if you open something, close it. If you turn on something in whatever machine, device, once you're done, turn it off. If you unlock a door or a lab or a facility or a room, and the room is supposed to be locked, please lock it after using it. If you break something, you took a tool, you used the tool, something happened to the tool, it broke, repair it. If you cannot repair it, call somebody who can fix it, right? Don't leave it there unattended. That's very important. Of course, if you borrow something, please return it back, because that way we know where the tool is, and anybody else who wants to use the tool, they know where to go to pick it up. If you use anything, any device, PC, sensor, instrument, whatnot, please take care of it. That's a collective good. And if you care for it, and if you prevent this from being damaging, then we'll ensure that many of us can use it for many years to come, right? And that's very important. Also, if you make a mess, clean it. Or if you see a mess, clean it. Don't leave it like that, okay? If you move something, put it back. If something belongs to somebody else, ask for permission to use it. Don't just pick it up and run with that, okay? If you don't know how to operate something, don't touch it. Call the person who knows how to operate it. They'll teach you how to use it. You may have to go through some standard operating procedures to learn the processes, and then you can use it. Anything in KITE is yours to use it and to benefit from it. But don't use the things that you don't know how to operate, and please seek for advice how to do that, how to learn to use the device. And of course, if you don't know how to use it, just leave it, right? If something doesn't concern you, don't mess with it, okay? Also, don't stick anything on the walls unless it's in framed. So if it's so important, put in a frame, ask for people who are managing space, and we will put it on the wall for you. Otherwise, don't put stickers and printouts and other funny things on the walls, because that way you damage the wall, and in no time this wall is going to look awful, and then we need to go and repair it, and that's a lot of costs, and also the environment starts looking funny, and it's not pleasant, and it's not nice, and we don't want that, okay? If you have, and you will use tapes to mark the floors for measurements in gate, or to mark place where you want person to sit, or all kind of different things. This is all great. Once you finish the experiment, immediately remove the masking tape or the mark or whatever markings you have on the floor or wall where you had to do it, because if you leave it, it damages the floor. You cannot take it off, and it's so much more expensive and painful to take it off. If something smells lovely, it's great. Don't bring it to KITE. The reason is we have a lot of people who are sensitive to fragrances, mild or strong, and we have a couple of employees here at KITE who actually cannot tolerate fragrances, and also we are in an environment which is fragrance-free. It's a hospital, so things that you do and you wear normally when you go out, see friends on a date, club, don't. So try to practice scent-free behavior. That's an important thing. Also, we don't want unwanted guests, meaning pests. So to prevent that, we have very specific areas where we should have lunch. So if you bring your own food, which is all good, there are fridges where you can store it, we have places where you can microwave, where you can warm it up, but please have your lunch not at your desk, and in the lab, have the lunch in the areas which we have designated for you. And we have created some spaces on the 11th floor and other places at KITE where you can have a lunch. You don't want to lose your data, so please back it up. We provide you a lot of space on a server and our memory banks. So please store your data, back it up all the time. It is very important, because if we have a flooding or we have a roof that's leaking and your computer gets damaged, which did happen and will happen, you may lose all your data if it's not properly stored and backed up. If you leave your desk, if you have patient's data, please store sensitive data safely. Don't leave the patient's data and patient information lying all over the place. I think this is about the most important rules. If you think we forgot something, let me know. I'm happy to add one or two, but these are fundamental principles how we behave. And if you follow these rules, it's going to be much easier for you to operate. You'll enjoy the process better, and the environment will be safer, cleaner, and more welcoming to you and your colleagues and everybody else. Once again, I'm delighted that you joined KITE. We have great expectations from you. You're outstanding people. That's why we brought you to join us and work with us. Enjoy your stay at KITE. Enjoy this family environment that we have created and we nurture. And I'm sure you're going to do exceptional job while you will be with us at KITE. Okay? All the best.